They wore the boots, they bore the fight, raised our flag in freedom's light. From desert sands to ocean blue, they came back strong. Now here's what they do. In an old barn kitchen with a flag on the wall, Skipper's cracking jokes, Georgie's on the call. TC's got the skillet and he don't miss. They're serving up freedom and it tastes like this. This ain't just bacon and beans on a flame. It's stories of honor and pride in a name. From mess hall chow to Sunday roast, they serve it up right and they never boast. With a pinch of grit and a whole lot of soul, they're feeding hearts and keeping us whole. Freedom still cooking, no need for translation. You're watching the heart of veteran nation. Skipper's got a tale from '89, grilled it in a foxhole with no finish line. TC brings heat like a stovetop fight, still sharp as a bayonet every bite. And Georgie, she ain't served in a uniform, but she's right in the fire where the stories are born. With a voice full of sass and a heart full of grace, she lifts up their legacy with style and faith. This ain't just bacon and beans on a flame. Stories of honor and pride in a name. From mess hall chow to Sunday roast, they serve it up right and they never boast. With a pinch of grit and a whole lot of soul, they're feeding hearts and keeping us whole. Freedom still cooking, no need for translation. You're home with the crew of veteran nation. Two served in silence, stood through the storm. Now they're back with a mission in culinary form. And one voice beside them, bold and unshaken. She honors the brave with every move she's making. So here's to the brave and the voice that stands true, stirring up stories we all can hold to. From combat boots to cooking shows, they're teaching us more than the world ever knows. With a pinch of grit and a whole lot of soul, they're feeding hearts and keeping us whole. Grab your plate, tune in, feel the dedication. Your family now on Veteran Nation.
So weird. Skipper's not on screen.
I'm here though.
You are here.
We're here.
Yeah. So Skipper, no one's gonna tune in just to watch me. Georgie's here, but you can't see her, so
Oh, my picture's not good enough?
I'm not what?
Hold, please.
I can't. I hope. Is there a chat? Because I can't even see the chat.
Oh yeah, we do have the chat. Hold on, let me put the overlay up.
Yeah, that might help.
I can't even really read the chat, so that's, I guess, what Georgie's going to do today. He's gonna stay on top of the chat. That probably was wrong. That was the wrong phrase to use in this group.
I'll be playing the part of Juan, doing all the producing.
Well, yeah, we're going to need you to talk too. So, hey, welcome. This is our first official Veteran Nation Kitchen. Vet Kitchen. What did we decide? What are we going with? Vet Kitchen?
Veteran Kitchen.
Veteran Live, yeah.
Vet Kitchen Live. So this is a twofold thing. This is a direct response to Georgie having just an absolute blast last week when she needed it. Is that fair, Georgie?
Yes.
And then, unbeknownst to me, other people were enjoying watching me cook while we were chatting last week, which was really not the intent. I was not trying to do anything other than chat. But so yeah, here we are. We're gonna cook for a while today. You guys are in for something. I don't know if we'll call it a treat yet, but you're in for something. We are going to do, George, you know what cordon bleu is, right?
Sorta.
Sort of. Skipper, you know what cordon. Skipper, you've had cordon bleu.
Yeah, it's a blue corn on the cob.
This is why. Okay.
You have no avatar.
I don't need an avatar. I are what I am. Yeah. So cordon bleu. Cordon bleu is predominantly a chicken dish. You can do variations of it. You can do it with pork. You can do it with beef or poultry, but most people know it as chicken cordon bleu. And what it is it's a protein that is in most situations it is a protein that is um, beaten thin and flat, and then rolled over a core of something like Gruyere or Swiss or uh, some other sharpish but white hard cheese and ham for the most part, and then breaded, egg washed and then breaded with something like a panko breadcrumb, and then either fried or baked, depending on how you like to do it. And I said, I'm going to do something different. So we're going to do for lack of better terminology, a kind of a rustic deconstruction of chicken cordon bleu. And it's a long process, but I've taken part of that process away. So we're not going to be here for the whole process, because the portion that we need to be able to finish the dish, of course, is the chicken. And the cooking process on that takes about the way we're doing it. If you're going to decide to do this and you want to do it in a way where you end up with a good product, and you can use bone in, skin on breast or thighs or even leg quarters. The cooking process takes anywhere from 2 hours and 15 minutes to 2 hours and 30 minutes. So we're going to do prep to show you what you need to do to be able to do this at home on a budget. Quite honestly, this is not a fancy cooking thing. It's not meant to, be a dish that you would expect to see in a 5-star, Michelin star restaurant, obviously. But I do know that a big portion of our crowd is on a budget, and we could all learn to eat different and better. And this is one of my favorite ways of preparing chicken, especially. And so we're going to do that first. Well, yeah, we'll get the chicken set aside and going first, and then we have a couple of other things that we have to do to be able to finish the meal, to be able to do it. Because the side is going to be a rustic chicken and wild rice pilaf that's going to be done stovetop, and it doesn't take too long. So we won't be here for like 3 hours while we're doing it, but we'll be here for a little bit. So while we're doing all of this, Georgie is going to write all of this down. She's going to write all the directions down. She didn't know she was going to do it.
Of course, he gives me homework. I'm not.
Yeah, well, I'm doing the bulk of it. So Georgie will write this down, and if you're interested in the recipe or wanting a reminder of how to do it, and you don't want to watch the video over and over and over and over and over and over again to be able to do it.
Isn't that the point of a cooking stream, though, is to be able to watch it and follow along?
Can be, yeah, but it can also be a pain in the ass if you're, not equipped to be able to do that in your kitchen. Not everybody can do that very easily. So, I'm using bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs.
Does it have to be bone-in chicken?
Oh, yeah, you're not going to want to do this recipe with anything other than a bone-in, skin-on. So, I mean, if you're going to go to the expense of buying boneless, skinless, you might as well just go look up the actual recipe for the actual cordon bleu and not do a deconstructed. this is actually a heartier way of doing it. So yeah, you're gonna want bone-in skin on for this. So I'm gonna use thighs, and you're gonna want basically a cake pan.
9x13.
Um,
Yes, that's a
it
9 by
depends. Well, it
13.
depends on how many. It depends on how many you're doing. So if you're just doing one or two, you can just use a really small baking pan. Uh, like I would normally fill this up, and I would have eight to 10 bone-in skin on thighs here in this. And you're going to want lemon juice for this recipe. Not a lot. Liquid smoke. And if you guys like this, I'll show you how to use liquid smoke. If you do not have a smoker at home and you do not have a way to smoke meats, but you like the flavor of smoked meat and
Stuff is
you
amazing.
yes, Georgie, I said meat. You like the way it comes out. Liquid smoke is a good cheat, but there's a very particular way you have to use liquid smoke, otherwise it'll be very overpowering and disgusting. And if you don't know anything about liquid smoke is literally smoke captured from burning wood, and then it's infused into a liquid. So it's not an artificial aroma. It's not chemically created. It is literally created by capturing smoke and infusing it into a liquid. So anyway, lemon juice, just a little bit into your baking pan. It doesn't have to be a heavy amount. You don't want the lemon to overpower. And the reason I'm using lemon is that lemon is a pretty traditional garnish dressing for cordon bleu. Normally, when it's served, it will have a decoration of lemon on it, and then the lemon will be squeezed. The fresh lemon will be squeezed onto the breaded chicken that work as a counterpoint and give a little bit of acidity to the protein and the fat of the cheese and the chicken and the ham. Chicken broth. This is very important. The reason the chicken broth is important is a lot of people in a situation like this would use just pure water and then add in the liquid smoke and the lemon. The chicken broth actually helps keep the flavor of the chicken without blanching, just purely blanching the chicken. And once again, with liquid smoke, it's very powerful. I keep wanting to show you guys, but here, Georgie, smell.
Yummy.
Uh,
Now, do you make your own chicken broth or liquid smoke?
do I make my own liquid smoke? I have tried to make my own liquid smoke, but it is not easy. It requires a lot of work and equipment that just don't. Um, and broth, yeah, I've made my own broth, but I just bought an organic broth from Aldi, which is about 50 cents more for. Yeah, that's the organic from Aldi, and it's literally only 50 cents more than a regular size box. And I bought low sodium intentionally because there is a certain amount of salt that already comes with this dish. So And when I say certain amount, I don't mean a very particular amount that you're adding, but it also depends on taste. And you want to be able to salt to taste as opposed to have to base it off of your broth. You know, that got me last week, Skipper. I thought Georgie had chickens all of a sudden. So the next step is shallots. You can go to almost any grocery store, even in a small town, and they're going to have shallots. Shallot is in the same family as onions and garlic.
And Gene.
Can you mute him?
I don't have that ability. However, he does have the ability to do it to us.
No, we don't want him muted. I enjoy him too much. He actually makes me look smart. So
Don't give him a big head. Hello, everyone in the chat.
what's everybody saying in the chats, Georgie?
They're just saying hello.
Who all here? Any of our regulars?
All of our regulars.
Yeah, I see a lot of regulars. We got people on Georgie's channel. We got people on Veteran Nation. Pretty much, we've got people on every platform with the exception of Facebook right now.
Yeah.
But I
While
need
we're
to
here,
share this to some cooking groups.
while we're here, a good friend of Veteran Nation, Rebecca Whiting, she's a vet from the Global War on Terror. Her and her husband are both Global War on Terror vets. They live up in northwestern Minnesota, and their region of Minnesota got hit pretty hard with storms last night, and a tornado went across their homestead, and they lost over 200 trees and some of their outbuildings, but their main house and the family are all safe.
That's good.
So we're waiting to hear if there's anything that they need.
Yeah, let us know if we can support them.
Yeah, she messaged this morning, and I put the word out. If you don't know, Becca ran school board, and then last year she ran for U.S. Senate, and she ran as a libertarian candidate. Rebecca is just a phenomenal person, and she set a record number of votes for a libertarian candidate in the history of the party in the state of Minnesota. And put her name on the map, so to speak. So she's good people, and she supports all the right causes. So the reason we're using shallots is they have a very mild flavor. They're not. Oh, go ahead. Somebody was saying something. Shallots have a very mild flavor. They don't do, what a normal onion would do. Can be, make you cry when you're cutting food. And they also have a very unique flavor. And the sauce that I'm going to be making for this is a beurre blanc, which is basically translate to a white butter, and you use shallots for that. And so this is going to give this consistency. And we'll also be adding in thyme straight from my herb garden in the back. So I left those outside. I did not cut them ahead of time because I like them to be as fresh off the stem as possible.
TC, we're getting asked
What was
a question. we're getting asked a question. What type of knife are you using? Is it Cutco?
What kind?
Knife, dummy. What kind of
With a
knife are you
Ginsu
using?
or a Cutco? What kind of knife?
I am using a stainless steel, basically a mini chef's knife from IKEA.
Of course, you shop at IKEA. I'm not surprised.
So you put the chicken thighs or breasts, if you're using breasts, put them in uh, top down, so like the skin covered portion, you put that in top down first. You want it to sit in the broth and in the lemon. And then you season to taste, or not obviously to taste, but to preference. Once again, this is kind of a rustic dish, so you don't want to go too heavy with things like, and it's a French dish as well, Swiss and French. So you don't want to go too heavy with things, even if you like spice and heat. You don't want to go too heavy with heat on this. You don't want to be
No.
adding in
Was
cumin,
that
and you don't want to.
Sacre bleu.
was that the Himalayan or the sea salt?
We had this conversation last week. It's Himalayan sea salt because
They're two different things.
they're not two different things. It is sea salt from the Himalayas because at one point the Himalayas were at sea level.
Yeah, you only say that because AVA corrected us last week.
Well, it's because it's true.
What else you
From
got
the
there?
shores of the Himalayas.
So I
What's
use
that?
standard salt and pepper and then a little bit of granulated garlic.
Does it have to be granulated garlic? Can it be garlic powder?
Why would you use garlic powder?
I'm just asking for us broke bitches.
Granulated garlic is about the same cost as powder, but it seasons smoother. And when you're seasoning, by the way, there's a cooking practice. It's called seasoning from height. So if you ever watch me do this, you will never see me down on top of it because you want the seasons to fall naturally. You always season from height. It gives you a better coverage.
Yeah, but what if it's me that's already down at the chicken's height? I can't really go much higher.
That chicken's almost as salty as you, TC.
There's kind of a common misconception about salt for cooking, by the way, especially when you're doing a slow cook.
Just keep ignoring my little
Is that you don't want to add too much salt. On this end, you want to add a little bit more salt than you would add if you were seasoning and going straight into to do a pan roast or grill, because the salt doesn't have time to permeate the meat. It kind of cooks on the skin or on the surface, whether it's a steak or a chop, fillet, or chicken, even just a regular boneless, skinless chicken breast. When you're cooking like this, the whole point is to get your. See, that's what happens when you're taller than Georgie.
I need a gong sound effect.
When you cook like this, not only are you going to end up with a more tender and juicy thigh or breast, you're going to end up with a flavor because it has time to permeate. So it kind of works as a cooking marinade.
Now,
So
are
how?
these chickens from your chicken stream, or did you store buy these?
No, I just killed some of my chickens for you guys today. This Freedom Flock is now Pride Flock.
And those of you just joining in, TC put his chicken face down, ass up before seasoning it.
Is anybody asking any legitimate questions right now? Or?
They're still talking about
For all the
these
crap I'm putting up with, I had better have at least 20 more subscribers on my channel when this is over.
Quit whining.
But amphetamines.
So while it seems counterintuitive, what I'm about to do is absolutely 100% foundationally important to what the cooking process is going to entail. So you're going to need clean
what? Clean wrap.
like clean wrap, plastic wrap, like saran wrap, whatever you call it. This is incredibly important because your oven's going to be set at about 250, preheated to about 250, right?
Yeah, but you can't put plastic wrap in the oven. That's not safe.
It's 100% safe. I don't
It'll
like
melt.
Ladies and
No, it
gentlemen,
won't.
you're watching Cooking with White People on PBS. Brought to you by viewers like you.
No, this is very, very, very important.
I've never in my life.
You absolutely do not want to miss this process.
I thought you were supposed to beat the chicken. I'm confused now.
Stop what?
Nothing.
No, this is 100% vital to this part of the cooking process.
Miss Laura says, serious question. Don't you feel the chicken?
Don't I what?
Feel the chicken.
Fill it?
Yes.
No. This is the deconstructing. So we're going to have all the elements of a cordon bleu, but they're going to be presented differently than what's been the accepted traditional style of cordon bleu.
You said the oven was at 250, right?
225 to 250, it just depends on how long you want to take. So I have a double oven. I'll show you guys that here in a second. I have a double oven, and the upper oven is a standard, and the lower oven is a convection. So I use the convection side, and I set it at 225, and I let the chicken cook for 2 hours, 20 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes or so.
Now,
And that allows.
tinfoil or aluminum foil?
Go ahead. Yes.
AVA is here.
So you want the aluminum foil works as a protector so that the plastic itself is not exposed to elements. My oven happens to be sealed all the way around, so
Yes, wise. Apparently we are.
so this is the convection side, and here's the chicken that we've had going for the last couple of hours.
Now I know why you
So
disappeared on me earlier.
pull that, and I had other things to do. So that's the convection side. I'm going to let it get back up to temp here. So this cooking process allows the fat, the regular normal amount of fat on a chicken, especially, to render through the cooking process, which allows between the broth and the lemon and the liquid smoke, as the fat renders off of the chicken through the slow cook, it mixes with the other juices, and then it reabsorbs all of that salt, the pepper, the garlic, whatever your seasonings are. And once again, if you're going to do this recipe, you don't want to do anything too crazy or off the chain as far as heat, because too much heat, cayenne, uh, gosh, sriracha, anything like that is going to really ruin the flavors. It's a very subtle dish, but it's phenomenal if it's executed well. So
I was about to say.
go ahead, say something, Riley.
He's
Nope, I
using the
didn't have to
Windex
say
again.
anything. It's no Windex. It's Dawn.
It's not Dawn,
It's in a Dawn bottle.
right? But it's a homemade mix that we use for disinfecting and cleaning.
Sear says, I know the plastic seal's in flavor, but would the foil be sufficient with a tightish fit?
Well, yeah, you'll see in a second.
So is that
So-
all that I need to write down for that part?
Oh gosh, no.
We're broadcasting on Twitter. Someone please tag Gordon Ramsay in this.
I don't care if Gordon calls me a
White
donut.
people enjoy ranch with their chicken. Not all.
I would take getting roasted by Gordon Ramsay over anything anybody else could do by way of compliment.
It's okay. I'll roast you in private.
So here's the chicken that I started earlier, and as you can see, it's sealed down very well, and does basically a vacuum seal on that. It's kind of a poor man's sous vide. If you don't know what sous vide is for cooking, you vacuum seal your product literally you seal it into a plastic bag, and then you cook the product at a low temperature in water. And so all your seasonings that are on that product, whatever protein you're using, fish, sirloin, chicken, they're just infused with those flavors. It's super tender. So you can use a really, really gristly cut of beef or pork and do a sous vide, and it will basically just melt on your fork in a good way. So we do not need to reserve any of this sauce or the juice that's left over, but I like to let it sit and kind of cool, kind of rest for a while.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.
It is. It's like the water on Skipper's brain.
I'm a waterhead baby.
It triggers me.
Thank you, Blues Rough Rider. I
So we're
appreciate that.
What was that?
Oh, Blues Rough Rider. He's watching and giving comments over on Rumble.
Oh, cool. What kind of comments is he making?
Just that he's over there. He's watching over there. Got a couple people watching over there. We got a pretty decent audience on Twitter right now. Everyone, make sure you're following TC on Twitter at Rogue Regiment.
Yes, please. So the next thing that we're going to do, and this is actually the second most vital step
Sir,
in the recipe that I'm planning today.
sir.
And folks, I've never executed this recipe
Here
before.
comes the butter.
Everything that I do is off the top of my head when I cook. And if I like it, I remember it. If I don't like it, I'll remember it and I won't do it again.
Lots of butter.
So,
Are you making butter noodles to pair with it?
no. So you want an unsalted butter.
Butter is a must on everything. Sir, do you have a lapel mic?
Yeah. Do I have a what?
A lapel
Lapel.
mic, like a microphone to hook onto your shirt.
Not ready. It's out in my car. So.
We could take a brief intermission and watch Skipper's cocktail video and let you go get your lapel.
I don't have one. I think everybody can hear me.
Yeah, you keep cutting out, Dingleberry.
When you walk away, it cuts out, but when you're close like this, it's fine.
Oh, it's when I'm moving around. But so you want to cube your butter. And this part's, like I said, very important because this is going to be for the beurre blanc later. You want to cube your butter, or if you're buying skinny sticks like this, just slice it, and then we're going to put it in the freezer. This is very important for doing a beurre blanc.
Now you're doing what with the butter? Cubing it?
That you're going to be working with frozen butter in a hot dish. What are you giggling about?
Nothing. Nothing at all. I am behaving. Thank you.
No, you're not. You're lying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So do you believe that's really butter? Because I can't believe it.
This is why Marines, never mind. I'm not even gonna.
The chat is asking.
Yes, emotion.
The chat is asking if you washed your hands between touching the raw meat and the finished stuff that you're touching out.
I my by the way, so
He used the Windex, people.
He used the. It's not Windex.
so the butter is in the freezer.
So why are we freezing the butter?
Because we're gonna make, and you want the butter as cold as humanly possible, because you do not want it. You do not want it pre-softened, warm, room temperature, anything like that. As you're adding it to reduced wine and shallots, because it'll separate and you'll just end up with buttery oil.
Greg of Scotland says my jokes are not buttering up.
I agree with him.
Wise said first he makes us eat plastic chicken, then he executes us. Then he rubs us down in butter. This man has serious kinks. Oh, Wise, you have no idea.
So
You guys butter not mess with TC's cooking.
So the next.
So other than the butter, is there anything else you like to spread? Rumors?
Nope. not going there.
So the next part is we're going to start the rice. We're going to start the peel off. And you want to pretty low temp to start your peel off because you're not going to just dump rice into water,
What is that?
cook it. This is olive oil.
Okay. Oh, we can move on to the next thing. 'Cause I have to do homework.
Yes.
Not what I applied for when I
We're going to use extra virgin. You want to use extra virgin olive oil. So Georgie wouldn't understand what that means. But,
Is that olive oil you find at the library?
Why are we bullying me?
Yeah.
Or maybe
As
at
if
like a
you
Star Trek
would.
convention?
So you want to preheat your olive oil and
Butter.
surprise butter.
I thought this was supposed to be healthy.
Butter's not bad for you. So you preheat your olive oil and your butter. And then you decide how much rice you want to use. Now today we're using a combination of wild rice and long grain brown rice or brown rice. Do not buy white rice, folks. Do not. Just stop buying white rice.
What kind of rice did you say
Rice
that
was
was?
not meant to be white.
What did you say that was? Brown rice?
Brown rice, yeah. Do not buy white rice. It's bleach. Rice is not naturally white. Do not buy white rice.
Nope.
Trump is gonna export all the brown rice.
You really went there. I don't know why I'm surprised.
And cultivated long grain wild rice. Anybody not had wild rice?
I
Now,
don't
is the
like
wild
rice.
rice that you would pick up at, say, spring break?
That's not brown rice. That's black rice.
Rice gone wild?
Yes, that. Now, just so you guys know, wild rice actually isn't even a rice. It's a grass.
Same, Harry. Same.
I knew you were all about
I
the
don't know what.
grass.
So it's never a bad idea to take a look at what they suggest for your serving sizes on the back of your rice package. But don't just trust that it's going to come out perfect just because you're following the direction. So
He speaks from experience.
this is saying for a serving size for 2 to 3 people, when you're doing long grain brown rice, you need a half a cup of rice with a cup of water or broth, and then butter or oil or optional. Now, the reason why we have the oil and the butter preheating is we're going to roast the rice in the oil and the butter at the same time. This actually helps keep the rice firm without getting too mushy in a peel off.
Said firm.
Now, by any chance would you serve this with like some type of fruit salad with Jello and marshmallows?
Once again, marine.
How come he keeps responding to you, but when I make remarks, he just ignores me?
Make you cry. I don't care if Skipper cries.
Yeah, okay.
Would you, by any chance, serve this with like I'm trying to think of Minnesota cuisine, like tater tot hot dish?
Tater tot.
Well, I don't know in what world, even in Minnesota, how tater tot hot dish is considered cuisine.
So how mad would you be if I said I wasn't doing homework?
I don't care. It'll disappoint everybody else because they're the ones that are going to want the recipe. But once your oil and your butter are basically, once your butter's melted, your temperature is sufficient enough to add the rice. Then you roast it, literally almost like you're doing popcorn. Any of you ever done stovetop popcorn?
I
Yes.
have, yes.
So we're popping the rice?
No, you're not actually popping it, but it's kind of the same process as popcorn.
So for dessert, would you recommend something like a good bundt cake?
Butt cake?
Bundt cake.
Probably not going to want a pretty hearty meal. But I don't do a lot of dessert preps. Not much of a dessert person.
Harry asks, do you put oil inside the meat or outside and just let it run in?
You would put oil what?
Inside of the meat or just on the outside and let it run where it goes?
Actually, you don't. In this situation, you're not using any oil or butter on the meat in the cooking process. So as the meat is, or the rice is roasting in the pan, you are going to get an onion. And depending on whether or not you like peppers, you can use green and red pepper, and you kind of once the rice has started to brown, and it's already brown, but you'll know it's roasting because it takes on a I'll say burnt orange feel to it. Once you have the rice brown, you add your vegetables in.
Can you show us what's in the pan?
I can, yeah. As long as
Now, can you pull it down a little bit? We're kind of looking over it. There you go.
and I don't know if you guys can see, but it looks almost like it's frying in there.
See, I was going to make some bread today because I was feeling crummy.
Yeah. Terrible, Skipper. Absolutely terrible.
He said peppers, not peckers.
I mean, you could put peppers in there if you want to. I mean, that sounds like some sort of gay Navy thing, but whatever.
Now you guys all know TC's always putting up with me. Pudding.
Oh, hey, all tons.
Yeah, he puts up with me too. Poor guy.
my neighbors decided that they were going to go in the middle of the hottest moment of the day.
So, Georgie, what would you make with this?
I have no idea. This is bougie.
I would say a good squash. People don't make squash enough.
You and your cheesy dad joke.
Hoo-ah!
Or I'm trying to think what else would go with chicken and rice. Maybe some beans, some good beans.
Did you say beets?
Beans, like
No,
baked beans or kidney beans or black beans.
no.
I'd probably do black beans myself.
Harry,
You would not do black beans with the cordon bleu.
It's
sir.
rice and beans and chicken and beans. That goes all together.
No, it doesn't.
Hey,
Because
boys.
this is why
quit arguing.
if Skipper invites you over for dinner, ask him which restaurant he's taking you to. Do not.
Are you using the whole onion? Or just half the onion?
I just like to smile. Smiling's my favorite.
Quit tuning me out, old man.
He just glosses right over what you say.
I said it depends on how much you like onion.
Are you dicing? Or mincing?
I'm not doing a pure dice, just chopping it up into manageable amounts.
Okay.
So for the amount of rice that we're using, I'll probably just go with a half an onion on this. So
Cordon bleu with pineapple might be good. So you can put pineapple on cordon bleu, but not on a pizza.
no. See, I'm gonna forever regret letting Georgie talk me into this after this today.
Wait a minute. I talked you into this?
You were like, we need to do that again.
Maybe it's just because I enjoy spending time with y'all. You're normal when you're in the kitchen. And not a grumpy T-Rex on a soapbox. Rawr. Forewarning, Chad, I'll be in
So I have
trouble.
a question. I have a question for you guys. When you're preparing peppers, does anybody especially in the viewing audience, when you're preparing peppers, do you cut out the center of the pepper?
Depends how you're making the pepper. But
I
you
do
have to
because
take the center out.
The only part of the pepper that you're going to want to remove is the stem right here. You want to leave the white and the seed.
Ew.
When you see peppercorn most of the time, you're getting everything, including the seeds. The seasoning and the flavor of the pepper is caught up in the white and in the seeds. That gives you the actual peppery feel of the flavor.
So are we only using bell peppers?
Yeah, because we're not making a spicy dish. You could use anything from Anaheim or any other kind of dish. If you were, let's say, if you were making, you wanted to make a Mexican style rice, but you weren't doing it purely with just the a tomato base, but you wanted to make something that was going to go with a fish, you could still use a Anaheim or a jalapeno or any other chili. You wanted to use the chili. But the number one mistake that most people make is they throw away the center. They cut out all the white. They cut out all the seed. The rice has brown, so I've turned the heat down to where it's tapering off some, and you're going to let the onions go a little translucent.
Elvis.
Who's Elvis?
I'm wearing my blue Hawaii shirt today. I decided to come on camera for a bit.
And the other really cool thing about peppers is that when you cut them in half like that, it's very easy to break just the stem off and leave everything inside.
Now, how are you cutting the peppers to put in the rice?
First thing is julienne, and then we'll kind of do a modified dice on them. Once again, we're kind of going for a rustic feel, so you don't want everything just perfect. You want everything to cook, but you don't want it to have the exact same consistency all the way across, because the peppers and the onions will help your peel off texture beyond just what you would get if you were just serving it with rice. You don't want it to be, oh, here's rice that needs sauce. You want the rice to work as a side dish that could actually carry itself without. What did I miss?
No, yeah.
This seems like a really good meal to take on, like to a picnic or maybe a rodeo.
Or to go big feet hunting.
Where's the rest of the joke? I'm waiting.
No, because
Punchline. Come on,
I
Skip.
don't want to be in trouble, so I'm just gonna sit over here in my corner.
Next,
So instead of water, and most people will make rice with water, especially if you're doing a peel off. I would say stick with your broth, or you can use broth or stock. Some people prefer to use stock. Stock happens to be, so broth is normally pure, just chicken or beef or whatever your stock you're using, or broth. If you use a stock, especially if you're doing a homemade stock, a lot of times it's going to be a reduced cook down of your protein and vegetables. So
Next week, join us where TC will be cooking a signature hollandaise sauce.
Come on, I'm bored.
It's chicken cordon bleu, no spicy talk.
Yeah, because TC's too serious.
I love cooking, so I have fun with it.
TC and his
next, boss?
wild rice.
I think that's the wildest thing about him is his rice. Skipper's head is clean enough to eat off of.
So we did about a cup of brown and wild rice together. We're going to add a little bit over what they recommend for cooking the rice. We're going to probably do a cup and a quarter.
Oh my, we're getting crazy
What is
now.
that? What is that?
It looked like orange juice. What was that?
Broth.
Don't yell.
Oh, I'll yell.
Don't put that much in if you guys don't like it spicy.
I'm going to end up in a corner at some point before the show's over.
You don't want to cover that?
No. And by the way, for those of you who don't cook a lot, what's that say? Yes, that is absolutely true. 100% true. If you don't cook a lot, do not use. You measure dry with this.
You don't say.
You use this for
You
liquid.
don't say, Captain.
This is by volume. This is no, you would not believe the number of morons that do not understand the difference between a cup by volume.
Wait, Jen Thunder's in the chat. Now I know why he's breaking it down for dummies.
Well, I've been breaking it down for dummies since before Jen got here. I was doing that mostly for you and Skipper.
Join the army.
You just wait.
If you ever want like really vanilla food, definitely join the military because they have to cook for all people's taste. So the food is incredibly bland. SpaghettiOs. Yeah. Next week we're going to be making Chef Boyardee's stuffed ravioli.
Cheesy ravioli.
Skipper will be cooking. Oh, so Skipper, you prepared a cocktail for pairing with the meal.
Yes.
But since we can't all be eating together, you prepared a cocktail that you thought would go well with the meal.
Yes, I did.
And next time that we do this, we'll probably be a little bit more prepared, and Skipper might even actually provide us with an aperitif, which if you don't know what an aperitif is a drink that works as part of your appetizer. But since we're winging this, we don't know if you guys are going to like this or not. We hope you do. But if you do like this, the next time we might actually have an aperitif and then a cocktail to go with the meal and then maybe a dessert drink for afterwards. So Skipper, why don't you show us the cocktail that you prepared to go with serving the meal? That was a good time for that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring that right up. It's a classic gimlet, which is a basis of gin. So we're going to go to that video.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Vet Cocktails. Now today, we're going to do something that pairs well with what's being cooked, and gin
Not showing, Skip.
pairs well with a lot of stuff. So
Oh, it's
we're gonna do a gin
playing
gimlet.
for me.
Yeah, it's black on our end.
Black on your end. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me remove and try to upload it again.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Vet Cocktails. Now
Is it on now?
today
Still-
we're going to do something
still black.
that pairs well with what's being cooked,
Hmm.
and gin always pairs.
Let me upload it because I was uploading it earlier, and for some reason it didn't come up.
Well, while we're waiting for that to upload, does anybody have any questions about where we're at in the process so far? Anybody have any thoughts?
We listen and we don't judge.
Oh, you can judge us. I don't mind at all.
Well, they were asking to see inside the pan again, but you can't angle a camera to save your life. So
Well, I'm trying to. You shut up. So
Oh, we can see there. It's very colorful.
Bite me.
Looks like chop suey.
see, it's so pretty. I'm gonna add it.
So remember this will be as it cooks, this will be rustic, and you're gonna see the peppers and the onions are gonna be very well distributed throughout pilaf.
No, what kind of pan are you using?
This is just a regular saucepan. When you make anything like on a stovetop, and that's another thing that, especially when it comes to rice dishes, a lot of people feel like, oh gosh, you bake rice or whatever. And certain dishes, baked rice is great. So you're doing kind of one of those basic Midwestern chicken and rice or pork chop and rice or whatever. And and no offense, we all start somewhere, but you buy your can of cream of mushroom and cream of celery, and then you're putting your rice and your chicken in, and you're cooking it all together. Oven's great because it does give you a very even cook, and as long as you have it mixed up and you have the right proportions of water, you're fine. But if you're going to make a pilaf, you can certainly do pilaf in the oven. You can do a Spanish rice or a Mexican style rice in the oven if you really want to. The problem is that it doesn't.
Hey everyone.
It doesn't mix well unless you can actually tend to it. You want to be able to tend to it because you want the flavors. You want to season it as it starts to soften, as it gets to service level. You want to be able to actually taste it. You don't want to just dump a bunch of seasonings in, mix it around, and throw it in the oven. And that's kind of one of the mistakes that people make. So if you are thinking about doing a pilaf sometime or trying a pilaf or a Mexican rice or even Indian or Asian rice, you're going to want to do it in a saucepan. Go ahead, Skip.
Okay.
Welcome back to another edition of Vet Cocktails. Now today we're going to do something that pairs well with what's being cooked, and gin always pairs well with a lot of stuff. So we're going to do a gin gimlet. And a gin gimlet is very simple. First thing we're going to take our shaker, put some of our ice in there. And we need our lime juice. So we need about half an ounce of lime, a shot glass like this is about 1.5 ounces, so 1/3 of that, a little bit more. So about 1/3. There we go, lime juice. Now the next thing is simple syrup. We're gonna grab some of the simple syrup. Again, about half an ounce. Fill this up about a third. Put that in there. As you can see, this is a very, very basic recipe. The cat wants in on it. Do you want to smell the gin, kitty? I don't think he likes the gin. Now, 1.5 ounces, so a full shot glass of gin. So it ends up being a little bit over 50% of gin for this drink. But it's a very refreshing drink. This is a good pool drink. But now we're going to shake it up. Shake it up really good. Once your shaker starts getting cold, you know it's there. And then we're going to strain. This is a frozen glass. Now, normally you do a martini glass, but I don't have any martini glasses. So we're just going to do a frozen glass there. I should have actually put more ice in here because you are supposed to pour it over ice, but we'll put the ice in after the fact. And normally what you would do, I don't have any limes, but you would garnish with a lime and then serve. Very good, very refreshing drink. So this one will pair well with a lot of chicken dishes. And it's also a good summer poolside drink, and I know we're getting into that time, but this is a classic gimlet. So again, it's 1/2 ounce of lime juice, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, and 1.5 ounces of gin. Shake with ice, strain, and then pour on the rocks. That is good. That is good. Thank you guys, and join me again for another edition of Vet Cocktails. Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Vet Cocktails. Now today...
Go. Do you like gin drinks?
I never had gin, like of all the things. So
I don't like it straight, but I do really like it mixed up with other stuff.
that is not the first time you said you don't like it, sir.
Funny guy, he brings jokes.
So now we're going to take a look at
What heat are you cooking the rice on?
low medium. So yeah, the whole key with rice is you want to avoid it being sticky and mushy. You don't want it to be too high, but you don't want it to take too long to cook either. So you want a kind of a low medium or even a medium. Now, when the chicken is done cooking at the first step, which is the 2-hour process, you're gonna want to prepare it for the finish cook. And the finish cook is, depending on how long you let the chicken rest, the finish cook is going to go between 350 and 375 preheated oven, where you're going to, or you can even finish it on the grill if you want to. Not everybody has access to a grill, and not everybody likes grilling. I don't know what's wrong with you if you don't like grilling, but
Some of us aren't allowed to have grills where we live.
so what the finish cook does is it makes sure that your service temp on your chicken is reached. And there again, we talked about service temp on chicken. 160 to 165 at the center is safe for poultry. Believe it or not, there are now restaurants out there specializing in raw chicken. Yeah, I said that. There are restaurants out there that are now doing raw chicken recipes. So when you do the finished cook, which we're not ready to do quite yet, we'll brown the chicken, give it a nice brown presentation, and we'll crisp up the skin. What we're going to be doing to finish cook this is once we're at that point, we will put it in the oven for about 5-10 minutes. Then we're going to bring it back out and we're going to use shredded Gruyere and panko breadcrumbs to crisp the top. And then we're going to get the ham element, we're going to be using not ham per se, what everybody's used to, but we're going to be using pancetta, which is probably the most expensive investment aspect of this. If you don't want to invest in pancetta, you can buy deli sliced ham and cut it up. But I wanted to do something a little bit more extravagant for this, and so pancetta is a really good place to go for that.
And
Depending on where you live, a package of pancetta, this is 5 ounces, is probably going to cost you $6 to $8. So this would be the most expensive aspect of the meal prep, and it's 100% worth it. Pancetta is phenomenal, and when we make the beurre blanc, and when the beurre blanc reaches time, the time in the process where we'll be adding the butter, this will go in and with the shallots, and it will cook up to temp in the wine because we're going to be using a wine reduction. And I just bought a white cooking wine. Some people prefer to use like a Sauvignon Blanc or even a Chardonnay. That can get really expensive, even if you're buying a yellowtail or something like that. White cooking wine is not for drinking, but it tastes phenomenal and works out just fine in recipes that are specifically meant for cooking. So is this something you could see yourself attempting, Skipper?
I like how you asked you and not me.
I was going to ask you too, but I'm asking Skipper first because we know you cook better than Skipper.
I would probably, I would try it. I'd probably screw it up. I do need to get the full recipe to put in the description after we're done with the live.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had asked.
Asked. No, you.
Yeah, I directed you. I directed you because
You're bossy.
and
Yeah.
Skipper, you like wine. You like wine, right, Skipper?
I will have some wine every once in a while. I'm not like a big wine drinker.
He has wine with his boyfriend in the hot tub.
I'm not a wine drunk.
You're not one of those. You're not one of those hot chick summer moms.
Yeah.
Same. I mean, I like wine, but I prefer vodka.
I do not like White Claws. I will say that.
Those are cheerleader beers.
Right.
I don't understand the appeal. They have no flavor.
They just don't taste good to me. It's just too sugary.
which is ironic because they're like no carbs, no sugar drinks. But yeah, they're really sweet, but they have no flavor. So you get like well, they have like a lime one or a lemon one, and you taste it, and it's like some guy in the bottling factory just stood over the can as it went by and just waved the lemon over the top of it. But there, have you guys tried Carbless yet?
No.
They're another one of those vodka cocktail seltzer things, but they actually have a lot more flavor. But they more than one, and they get way too sweet. I'm trying to read the chat, but I can't read it on the screen. So
Jen said TC is not bossy. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, he is.
I'm bossy.
See, he admits that
I think Jen just likes bossy.
she just doesn't see the bossy. Boone's Farm strawberry. Yes, ma'am, Miss Nancy.
Wait a minute. For the love of God, who said Boone's Farm?
I did. I just read it in the chat.
Moderators, time that person
No,
out.
you leave Nancy alone. I had some wild summers as a teenager with Boone's Farm. I like the blueberry one better. For those that just came in, TC is making a deconstructed cordon bleu.
With a wild rice pilaf.
Yeah, AVA is talking about the mulled wine in Germany. Very good. I made some during Christmas time.
Oh yeah, I have.
That
We
too,
normally
AVA.
My family, we don't normally do mulled wine. We normally do Tom and Jerry's, which is another good Christmas drink. Oh, there you go.
Trader Joe's, which is a German-owned company, sells what's referred to as Glühwein. So when you say mulled wine, that's the Americanized version of Glühwein. And this is not meant to be drank cold. You heat this up, and if you like, you can add oranges to it.
Nancy says Mad Dog 2020.
You people.
Listen,
You people.
Mad Dog unalived me a couple times. Yeah. So did Jack Daniels.
Fun fact, Boone's Farm is the replacement for Ripple. When Ripple was discontinued, that's when they created Boone's Farm. They rebranded it.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Have any of you ever watched Schitt's Creek?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You remember the couple of episodes when they were working with Herb Erglinger and his fruit-based wines? And I can't remember her character's name now. But she got drunk shooting the commercials.
Moira?
Well, yeah, Moira. I'm Moira. And I would like everybody to have some Herberlingers. Herbadinglers. Yeah.
Now, fun fact, if you invite the skipper to your house for a dinner party, I will bring wine. But beforehand, I'll ask you what box you prefer.
You didn't. You did. We just got a Total Wine and More in Rochester, opened up a few months ago, and I think I went in there on grand opening weekend, and the number of white Mayo Clinic employee females in there buying boxes of wine.
It fits right in your cooler.
I just aisles and aisles and aisles of inexpensive bottled wine, and these chicks were in there buying the boxes.
Nothing like a good box of Franzia.
I'm like, I heard again. She goes, "Where's your box wine?" And I thought maybe at first I thought I misheard her, and I'm thinking she meant cakes, right? No, they goes, "Oh, right here." She goes, "No, I meant the wine in boxes." And he had to walk her to the section and show her where all the boxed wines were. And there are way too many boxed wines. Way too many different types of boxed wines, folks.
We have it over near the day old bread and the old veggies. Manischewitz. That's not cheap wine though. Manischewitz, that's just Jewish wine.
I think I might get tipsy on my stream tomorrow. So I can get a bottle of vodka and some orange juice.
Speaking of Jewish wine, have you ever seen that episode of Frasier where the woman mistakes Frasier and thinks he's Jewish, so he's trying to pull off being Jewish and he's pouring wine for everyone? His brother's like, "Have you ever had Jewish wine?" He's like, "No." And he pulls out a thing of sugar and just starts scooping it.
He adds sugar to the Jewish wine.
No, it was regular wine, but they were trying to pretend they were Jewish. So he started throwing sugar in the glasses of wine.
I don't get it.
Because Jewish wine is very, very sweet.
Oh. Now I get it.
Peach vodka.
Ooh.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that because it probably has a taste coming back up.
I think I might get the vanilla whip and get a sun kiss.
Did you say vanilla whip?
Mhm.
What is vanilla whip?
Vodka is flavored vodka.
No.
Yeah,
It sounds like
it's
John
really
Candy
good.
from Blues Brothers. You want an orange whip? Orange whip? 4 orange whips. Wineade. Kind of like Kool-Aid.
I'm gonna need it to put up with these on the show tomorrow. Jay
Harry,
Hipp's gonna be with us tomorrow.
Harry, I love a good scotch. I really do.
So Skipper and I are working on bringing on somebody that wants to have a friendly conversational debate with yours truly about the situation in the Middle East right now. But I don't know if Skipper's a good moderator for that because he'll probably side with my opponent.
I'll moderate. I'm down for that. Look at him smile.
You have to be able to reach the micro. You have to be able to reach the microphone to moderate. So.
Mm-hmm. You have no room to talk there, T-Rex. Rawr.
I literally just typed that right before you said it.
Are you guys sending private messages?
No, they're not private messages.
They're just scrolling across the bottom of the fucking screen.
I love whenever I can get
Right.
Georgie laughing hard.
See, look how close.
Ooh, that's a rolling boil you got there. I've got a boil, but it's not anything with cooking.
Where did the chat overlay? Oh, it is up. Okay.
Kool-Aid removes rust. I don't know when I'll ever need to know that, but okay. Hashtag roar.
So we're gonna get ready to start our for Blanc.
I am in so much trouble after this stream.
He's never gonna do another one of these.
No, he's just gonna tell me to do something else after stream. Go do this. Go do that. That's right, Miss Joe.
Well, you were supposed to be taking notes, but
I am taking notes. I do listen sometimes. Doesn't mean I like doing it.
so we're gonna prepare our next round of shallots here. Now the difference with the shallots this time is going to be these are going to be finely minced as opposed to just kind of randomly chopped.
Every time that scrolls past, I get the giggles. Rawr. I gotta find the button to do that.
Next on PBS, join us for Daily Frump, the show set for middle-aged women who are unmarried. I hope he doesn't cut himself. It would be great for the stream, but I don't wish that on him.
The knife gives him like a 3-inch extension on those little arms.
Uh-oh, he almost lost that one.
Now, what are you doing with those? What are those
Pull
for?
up the Windex again to clean it.
These are the shallots. You would know that if you'd been paying
I
attention.
was paying attention, but you go into these long, drawn out fucking explanations and I'll lose interest.
Yeah, I know. Heaven forbid I actually explain what I'm doing.
No, it's not that. It's just squirrel.
Remember Phil Hartman as the anal retentive chef? Well, now we have to get rid of our shallot refuse, so let's put that into our baggie.
Oh, look, he smirked. He usually is just this angry.
Did he just throw something behind his back?
He did.
I saw that.
You do not want to see the floor of an average restaurant kitchen, by the way.
You are not lying.
And I don't care how good the brigade is, they're all like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning it with the Windex gives the chicken that really strong ammonia flavor.
Who's using Windex?
According to Mikey, you are.
Every time you pull out your disinfectant, it looks like Windex.
It's in a Dawn bottle.
Get it squeaky clean.
So
Go ahead.
Thought I had to sneeze. I did not. How many cocktails have I had? I have not had any yet today. However,
He made that one last
it's
night.
still early.
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
So at this point with the peel off, as it starts to get to that place where the rice is softened up enough, you can start adding what you like for flavoring.
Soy sauce.
Salt, pepper, garlic. I like to use better than bouillon, especially like a vegetable stock, and I'll show you that if I can find it in the refrigerator. But you don't need a lot of the better than bouillon. That stuff it's a little bit more expensive than regular bouillon, but it is well worth it. And by the way, don't ever let anybody tell you as you're tasting your food that you. I don't want to say this. Don't rely on the first taste. Just because something seems right when you season it the first time, you want to go back and you want to taste again when you're seasoning the taste. And that's why I tell people I never give a prescribed amount. Oh, quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper or a half a tablespoon of salt or whatever the case might be, because every single time, every single seasoning, every spice that you buy, depending on how long you've had it, depending on the rice or the quality of the product that you buy, that all impacts flavor. So
doing.
Have you ever had imitation crab meat? I think they should sell those.
every time you have crab rangoon, you're having imitation crab meat. Better than bouillon vegetable stock.
Is that Vegemite?
Yes, it's Vegemite.
I think imitation crab meat should be sold as I can't believe it's not crab meat.
Okay, that was maybe the worst. You've done bad before, but
They can't all be winners.
it'd be nice if you start with like just getting one somewhere near the center.
Does anyone else wonder what it would sound like if that big pan right there just fell down and knocked TC upside the head? Would it be a doing? Yeah.
It's been a while since
This
I
one?
brought out the racism gong.
If I was there, I would knock it down on purpose to see what it would sound like.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be able to reach it.
I can climb.
Use a large stick.
That part. One of those little thingies with the handle. The little dinosaur hand.
Those little thingies with a handle. Like,
Mike understood the assignment.
you really want to rely on Skipper as your backup on this one? You understood.
I just shut up and go to my corner.
Now we're gonna have a
And once again, with the
guest
shallots,
to review your cooking skills.
you want the
Yay! Finally, some entertainment.
with the shallots, you really do want that mint.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to write that down. Huh?
Is
that
Gene
for the
Shalit
meat or for
still
the
alive?
rice?
Or is he dead?
This is going to be for the sauce, not for the rice.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to recommend that if anybody wants to try this, they're going to just want to go back and watch.
Yeah, 'cause I've lost my place a few times and it's all over the place.
Isn't this supposed to have cheese in it?
This is why we're never going to meet in person.
I'm over here thinking about gorgonzola.
I make a really, really good chicken dish with rigatoni and gorgonzola that you would absolutely love.
So far, the only thing I have seen you cook is chicken. Yeah, that thingy. The grabber. It looks like a dinosaur. Rawr. We throwing us
Can you
around
see
like
him?
that. Finally minced.
Minced to perfection.
Well, in his mind.
Is Heroes Chris here?
No.
I haven't seen him. Hopefully he jumps.
Is ADA still here?
Who? Yes.
Kahanu's still here.
Somewhere.
I want to make my own breakfast cereal, and I'm going to call it Sugar Tits, the only breakfast cereal that pairs well with milk.
Oh, perfection.
Any Filipinos in here? Maybe next week we should make balut.
There's your baby daddy.
I'm ADA baby dad. Get it right.
Okay, your baby mama then.
So we added the
Angle down a little bit. There you go.
vegetable better than bouillon, and it's given it a little bit of that rustic brown feel, but the flavor is absolutely amazing. And there again, with that, you want to add it slowly. You don't want to just add a giant tablespoon.
I don't even like rice, but that looks really good. Now you're holding your phone at my height. There you go.
No, I didn't know. There.
Rude. Pick us up.
I was trying to make you feel like you were standing in your kitchen.
Bite me.
What is it, baby? Yeah, I'm just a baby.
Okay, so now we're going to start the for blanc.
I guess I should go back to taking notes again. Skipper was playing peekaboo.
I got hungry. I had to go get something.
I assumed you went to the toilet. Ritz. My favorite.
Who's here?
Food.
So remember, everything for me is feel as far as how I do prep. Second. So this is the wine. You're gonna
TC's taking too long to cook. This is normal.
Is this normal?
That's not what I said.
Yeah.
He's making a bougie meal. It takes time. Especially if it's going to be cooked right.
I was laughing. I was
So
reading where someone
we added,
nicknamed their coworker
we
brisket
added,
because it takes them 8 hours to do anything.
we added the wine and the shallots to the pan. So I'm going to show you about. This is about an 8-inch pan.
That's a skillet.
Okay. Anyway, this is an 8-inch, basically an 8-inch saucepan, shallow saucepan. We added the shallots and the wine, and you see roughly how much is there. We're going to reduce that to almost a white wine reductions amount, which would take that down about 75%. So
Georgie, does that look like 8 inches to you?
You don't want me to answer that. Jen, why do you have issues eating things without your gallbladder? I eat like I did before I had it removed, and it doesn't bother me.
Because you have the gall.
that was terrible. Because you want to, with your rice, you want it to maintain that.
Bring it down some.
Can you guys see?
Bring it down some, Grandpa. Yeah.
Can you see it? All right. You want it to maintain the grain look, but you also want to watch your moisture levels.
He said moist.
Obviously, you don't want your rice to be still crisp, and that's one of the reasons why you roast the rice. Is it helps it maintain the grain look, but you can always add more liquid. Let's go out and get some chives and say hi to the freedom flock. See if they're out running around in the heat. Oh, they're all hiding in the shade.
Meow.
Hi, girls. Is it hot out? Yeah. We'll come outside and get in the breeze. Hi, Hildy. Yeah, it's hot, isn't it? Yeah.
Chickens.
They're. Oh. This whole area is all different types of chives.
Hi, Wednesday. He just got a handful of grass.
That's chives, you tickle shit.
Homemade turnip greens.
Rabbit.
What did you say?
I said homemade turnip greens.
So that's boiling already. And remember, we're going to reduce it down to about 25%. Now, we're going to add, now that it's boiling, we're going to add a little bit of heavy whipping cream.
Are you gonna clean those chives before putting them in the food? You know.
I'll want a little bit of cold butter. I don't know what you want me to clean them from.
Bird poop?
Pull out that Windex.
Bugs? You and the Windex. You're right, Miss Nancy. Most don't. Nothing. I was answering one of the ladies in the chat. But if you must know, she said men don't know what 8 inches is.
I just told women 8 inches is how far away you're supposed to be from the curb, and they always get closer.
I found a very funny reel on Facebook today, and it was an attractive middle-aged woman holding a tape measure, and she said, "All this trend with women showing how much they need." She said, If you think, and she pulls it out to 12 inches, she goes, if you think you could take all of this, you're going to the hospital. It was funny.
The things you find funny interest me.
So the reason that we are reducing the wine and salads down to 25% is that, along with heavy whipping cream, is because this is a white butter sauce, and so the butter is going to give it its thickness, going to give it the sauciness that you're looking for.
AVA, that sounds absolutely delicious.
That sounds delicious.
Pan-seared steak with herb and shallot.
And being that ABA is our resident Hawaiian, our resident Polynesian, I'm sure we could come up with a recipe version of this that does incorporate spam.
Ew. Wednesday, he is making a deconstructed cordon bleu, and what was that other stuff?
Rustic wild rice pilaf.
That word.
Have you asked me about washing the chives? Have you never just like gone out to a garden or and just plucked something off of the plant and ate it?
I don't know about you, but I don't want to eat bird shit.
So you've never ever in your life plucked a blackberry off a bush or a raspberry off a bush or a cherry tomato off of the vine and just popped it in your mouth and ate it right out of the garden? Or strawberry?
Not a cherry tomato, but I used to go out to my papa's garden and steal those big red juicy tomatoes off
And eat them, right?
like an apple. Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was a kid.
Like I literally don't understand what your concern is.
Germs. I didn't used to care. Now I'm a germaphobe. Gross. Mama coop.
And wild rice takes a little more moisture to uh, be edible, and you don't. Once again, you don't want it to be mush. If you're familiar with Italian cooking, Italians don't like soft noodles. They prefer their pasta, and they don't use noodles, by the way. They use pasta. They prefer their pasta prepared al dente, which means to have bite. In other words, it's going to be a little crisp. So you kind of want rice, especially in a pilaf, to have that crisp feel without being crunchy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So our beurre blanc is about ready. It's reduced down about halfway to where we want it to be. I've preheated the upper oven to, there we go. Can you see it? 350. We're going to get the chicken ready to go into the oven while we're finishing the thaw. You notice ultimately everything is really kind of about feel in this situation. You're going to spend very little time actually watching a timer. The thing that we're going to time the most, obviously, is going to be the chicken that's in the convection oven right now. And there again, that's a feel as well. It's anywhere from, like I said, at 225 in a convection oven or 250 in a conventional oven, anywhere from 2 hours and 15 minutes to 2 hours and 30 minutes. And that will actually cook it all the way through, but it doesn't give you the finish on the top. So I will be right back. I will let you watch the stove.
I wish we could mess with the stove right now.
Right? Or just reach through the screen and clean the chives. Mama, once I get it typed out where it's comprehensible, yes, I'll put it over in your server for you.
Did you wash those chives yet?
He said he rinsed them in cold water.
The only herbs I've ever grown was mint, but that was super easy.
Y'all are killing me with the spam talk. Ugh. The cats are being crackheads beside me. Stop it.
So the base of the beurre blanc is just about where I want it to be, and you can see the shallots pretty clearly. So I'm going to add the pancetta. And there again, the pancetta is not a normal part of the beurre blanc, but we're doing a deconstructed cordon bleu. So we're making modifications as we go. But the base, so like there are mother sauces in cooking. The French have named 5 mother sauces. One of them is a bechamel, which is a white sauce. And then there's a demi glace. And so when you use a mother sauce, you you modify it for whatever it is that you're preparing. But there's no recipe, especially when it comes to European cuisine, and even when you apply this to other cuisine from around the world, they all rely on pretty much the same mother sauce. They just don't call them that.
Wednesday said Mikey is taste testing.
I'm eating kettle corn.
Yeah. Yummy. What's that?
I'm adding some garlic, some salt, and some pepper to the pilaf. Not a lot. You always season them lightly.
Now, Jen, take notes. You see, he's seasoning his food. I'm literally the only one not eating or cooking anything. I'm just sitting here taking notes like I was told.
So this is the part that's trickiest. It's probably the most specialized. So we have our beurre blanc base cooked down. We have the pancetta in. It is clearly going to be up to temp. So now this is the part where it gets touchy, where we could end up making mistakes if we're not careful. And this is not a time to walk away from your stove for the beurre blanc. Let's see if we can get an angle. See how far down I can put this.
I feel tall now. Now I'm upside down.
That's good. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it angled down. So I'm not going to. I wish I could. So remember the butter that we put in the freezer at the beginning of this rock solid. Like, this would even be tough to cut. You add the butter cubes slowly to emulsify it. And emulsification, basically, it's just combining it. It's a fancy term for combining, but it's a slow combo because if you put it on too high of a temperature and you don't watch it, one, butter burns very easy. Two,
Yeah.
it separates. If you're cooking off of temperature, the French would tell you 45 degrees Celsius is about what you want to be emulsifying your butter at. And I think that works out to people who are um, into that kind of math. I think that works out to about 100, between 80 to 100 or 90 degrees. You do not want it any higher than that because you want this to form a cream and you want it to not separate. And it'll still taste okay if it separates, but it looks like so.
See how close to the stove he is?
Now we could probably cover.
Yes, they're kind of like like a mac and cheese, but minus the cheese. Probably be really good with some cheese. Cheese makes everything better. How many times you gonna switch out lids?
You keep adding your butter until you get your sauce to your thickness. This is not difficult, folks. Do not let this intimidate you.
Adding flour.
So skip it.
Adding flour.
No. If I find out that anybody tries to thicken this based off of what I'm doing today by adding flour, I will ban you from forever from all our platforms. I got a guy I work with makes his macaroni and cheese with a roux. A roux. And I don't mean kangaroo either.
I knew what you meant. A flour or cornstarch based mac and cheese is gross.
No, cornstarch, it does not make a roux. Cornstarch is the slurry.
Thickener.
Yeah, but there's a difference between slurry and a roux. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the consistency difference, but you can see how this is thickening up. Can you see?
We can see the
No.
top of your stove.
How about that?
A little bit better.
Can you see how it's thickening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it thick.
I want it on the side. Literally.
Nope. I'm not going there. I'm not taking the bait.
When you say I'm not taking the bait, you've already taken the bait. The other thing with the beurre blanc is this is meant to be served immediately. It is not one of those where you could pre-make it and reheat it. Once you make it, if it cools below service temp, it will separate when you try to reheat it. So mostly because there's no binding agent. There is no
Glory.
roux.
She wants my popcorn.
Don't bite him. Stop it.
Now, normally when you cut into a chicken cordon bleu at the center, the cheese, it will almost like in a grilled cheese. If it's made right, it's going to run. What we're going for here is not a runny cheese. We're going to be looking for a cheese as a crust, without it being burnt, and it almost gooey. But we're going to add the sauce to it. So what we're just looking for more than anything is the crispness and the flavor. So I cut up 2 sticks of butter. I used about 6 3/4, and I think we're going to be exactly where we want to be for consistency for this.
Go. Freya.
So the chicken is starting to get some top color, which is where we want it to be.
She's doing something, Greg. Guarantee you. She's up to no good.
Who's up to no good?
Georgie.
I was breaking up a cat fight.
So I am adding a Swiss Angry blend. What did I miss?
Pre-shredded cheese.
Somebody picking on me for using the
Yep.
pre-shredded. Well, I like the way it melts better than just a slice. It leaves texture. And then we're going to add panko for the crunch. And that'll offset the sauce.
She said she was breaking up a cat fight, but she's the only woman there.
Half for cat.
Right.
What exactly is wrong with pre-shredded cheese?
A lot of people have issues with pre-shredded when they're doing recipes because it feels like a shortcut, and it is. So now I'm going to add just a pinch of white pepper. A dash of salt. hint of garlic.
Any paprika?
No, I'm not Hungarian. I'm definitely not Polish.
The dog is staring at me. She wants my popcorn. Now I'm getting the side eye from her. She's doing this to me.
Now, if we were doing just a regular beurre blanc, some people will strain their beurre blanc and take the shallots out. I like the texture and the substance of the shallots in there. You guys should taste this. So I'm going to add the chives. Chives will give an offsetting color and some flavor, but it won't be so richly infused with the flavor of the chives that the chives become overpowering compared to the shallots. And be careful what kind of chive you buy. If you're going to the store and you're buying chives, there are different types of chive. There are garlic chive, onion chive. Um, so it depends on what flavor you're looking for. And another interesting thing about beurre blanc is a lot of times it's used on fish, predominantly on fish. So it's a really nice white sauce for fish, if you like fish.
Yay. No more in the dark.
Right?
Liquid smoked paprika. We're coming up with new stuff every day.
Did you say liquid smoked paprika?
Yeah, because I said mention that about paprika, and they were like smoked paprika, and I said liquid smoked paprika. There you go. It's live on stream. I patented it.
Yeah, he doesn't look him.
To you to try and capitalize on a corny idea and make money off of it.
Ooh, here comes the chicken.
Ah.
It's got a nice glaze to it.
And that's what you want your chicken to look like.
Mm.
Can you see it?
Mm.
I feel like chicken tonight.
Ah.
So now we're gonna plate.
That part, AVA.
So remember what I said about you want your rice to still look like grains?
Looks edible to me.
The rice is gonna serve as not only as a side dish but also as a bed for the chicken. You want to be careful when you remove it, because you don't want to pull the cheese off.
Mike fell down. That looks so good. Mm.
And that's it. A deconstructed chicken cordon bleu on a bed of rustic rice, wild rice pilaf.
Now you have to eat it the way the French do, in retreat.
All right, see you.
Gonna go eat now.
I need a nap.
So I'm gonna. What your first bite obviously is going to be a combination of the cheese, the rice, and the sauce, the chicken, and the.
Big mouth.
If you guys don't try this at home, you're fucking crazy. This is maybe one of the best things I've made in the last 5 years.
Like that. I'll just give me a ticket to Minnesota.
That is.
Let you cook.
I knew it was going to be good, but this is phenomenal. Even just the sauce with the rice is just, my God.
Paul, I would swirl
How
off
about
in the
that?
middle of the sauce making and forget it's on the stove. There's too many steps to it. Be like, squirrel.
So, guys, there it is. I will try and work with Georgie to help her walk through a written recipe so we can put it in the description of the video, or maybe even put it in a community note on her channel and on Skipper's channel. This is different than our normal Vet Nation content. This is, Vet Nation Kitchen Live, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And if you're tuning in and you were expecting like some major philosophical argument with Skipper and I, too bad, so sad. We're cooking today. So,
Maybe next week we can get you to make some southern biscuits and gravy.
oh, I have a recipe for keto biscuits and gravy that will blow your socks off if you're trying to lose weight and you're counting carbs.
I'd be looking for more skinnier waist than my socks off.
Touche, sir. But that thanks for tuning in for that. Please, if you haven't gone to my channel already, please head over there. If you follow Skipper on YouTube or Georgie on YouTube and you're not following me, my content's a little different, and that's why I chose to do this here with Georgie and Skipper, because Skipper has much more of a variety, and so does Georgie. And my content's very much centered on philosophy and government accountability, and we do talk about those things here on Vet Nation, but that's what my channel is focused on. And normally if I'm doing a cooking stream on my channel, I'm normally talking about some story or case that I'm investigating or working on, and not really talking about the food as much. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Skipper said that we could do this anytime, and if you guys are interested, just let us know. Make a comment in the comment section afterwards. And if there's something that you would like to try and make, but you've never made it before, or if you want another original recipe, let me know. Like I said, everything I do is off the top of my head, and very, very little planning goes into it. So this is how I cook every weekend, for the most part. Not making it up. This is how I do it. So and it's actually how I lost weight. Skipper, I think, has a picture of it, and if not, I'll put it up. I was 300 plus pounds about 6 years ago. I got down to 178 pounds this week, and it's all through creative cooking is how I was able to maintain the weight loss. I just learned how to make things that I like that were in keeping with a low carb diet. Just a little higher with the rice and the wild rice, but for the most part, everything on here is low carb. Outside of that, the chicken, the pancetta, the beurre blanc, all of it's very low carb. So before we go, does anybody have any questions or thoughts, or maybe anybody want to tell us whether or not they're going to try this at home? They feel like they're going to tackle it. Skipper said he'd tackle it, but he's afraid he'd screw it up. But I would love to. I would watch that. I would actually super chat to watch that.
I know
Mods,
I would
make
screw it
y'all-
up. I would try.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Mods, make sure y'all drop TC's link on both sides, please.
And we're gonna get the actual recipe typed out, and I will put it in the description. We didn't want to tip our hat too early.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's really good. I'm just gonna keep eating.
Always share with the class. Ah.
No, I am. I am sharing. I'm sharing with you so hard right now. Sharing so hard.
No, you're not.
So much
My
sharing.
cat does that. He makes noise when he eats something that he likes. He'll be like,
I'm not. This is bar none one of the best things I've ever made. So, anybody? No questions. No, I can't read the chat. It's too small from on my phone.
So
They
far,
want
no.
more streams.
Yeah, they want
want
to see
more
more
cooking
streams.
streams.
For real.
Yeah.
Would anybody be interested in seeing a stream about how to do a smoked country style, not spare, but actually country style rib to prepare it for barbecue?
Ribs.
Is that it? The yes or no? Yes, no?
Yes.
Well, you were over here going, I couldn't tell if you were like, nah, not so much.
No, I was saying, I want it. Get me hungry. This is so weird.
Yeah, we can do that.
He's hidden, and we can still hear him. It's just weird.
Right. Well, that's it, folks. Deconstructed chicken cordon bleu with a party wild rice pilaf, and probably total cost per serving is probably about $3 per serving. So you cannot beat. I'm full as hell, and you can't beat that cost. So
Rolas says I need to cook in my spa. That would just be gross.
That would be gross.
Hey, Rolas. Thanks for tuning in, Rolas. Skipper and I are talking about getting you on so we can have our Middle East conversation.
Oh, and I definitely have to be in the middle of that. You three would destroy each other.
Okay.
It can be a fight. One thing, TC, we want more streams, but we want you smiling more and less grumpy looking.
That part.
Me?
That part.
You get what you get.
That'll never.
Yeah, well, you're
You get what you
smiling.
get.
5 years.
Dimples.
That's a safe
Look at the dimples.
5 years I've been trying to make this man less grumpy.
Just keep me around.
And maybe it's your efforts that aren't helping.
Again, just keep me around.
So anyway,
I'm gonna take credit
that's
for
what we
your
had.
weight
And
loss.
Skipper will work on drinks for the next one as well.
Try that one today. It's really good. If you like gin and something by the pool, that's a really good drink. And I do have that set up. It will be going out tomorrow, so you can watch it on the replay, but it'll be its own standalone video tomorrow.
Skipper, what do you think? Did you like it?
I thought it was great.
Good. George, you have a good time?
Always.
I'm just gonna keep eating. So, and I can't think of a better way to end this than with Georgie's original song for the show. But before we go to the original song for the show, check out the link to the change.org for veterans 2A gun right or 2A right. We're still looking for a few signatures to get to 5,000. And Skipper, you got the song ready?
I do.
Remember, guys, you matter.
As Skipper, and as Skipper likes to say at the end of every one of our episodes, but I think in this case, it's very fitting. Thank you for being worth serving.
They wore the boots, they bore the fight, raised our flag in freedom's light. From desert sands to ocean blue, they came back strong. Now here's what they do. In an old barn kitchen with a flag on the wall, Skipper's cracking jokes, Georgie's on the call. TC's got the skillet and he don't miss. They're serving up freedom and it tastes like this. This ain't just bacon and beans on a flame. It's stories of honor and pride in a name. From mess hall chow to Sunday roast, they serve it up right and they never boast. With a pinch of grit and a whole lot of soul, they're feeding hearts and keeping us whole. Freedom still cooking, no need for translation. You're watching the heart of veteran nation. Skipper's got a tale from '89, grilled it in a foxhole with no finish line. TC brings heat like a stovetop fight, still sharp as a bayonet every bite. And Georgie, she ain't served in a uniform, but she's right in the fire where the stories are born. With a voice full of sass and a heart full of grace, she lifts up their legacy with style and faith. This ain't just bacon and beans on a flame, stories of honor and pride in a name. From mess hall chow to Sunday roast, they serve it up right and they never boast. With a pinch of grit and a whole lot of soul, they're feeding hearts and keeping us whole. Freedom still cooking, no need for translation. You're home with the crew of veteran nation. Two served in silence, stood through the storm. Now they're back with a mission in culinary form, and one voice beside them, bold and unshaken. She honors the brave with every move she's making. So here's to the brave and the voice that stands true, stirring up stories we all can hold to. From combat boots to cooking shows, they're teaching us more than the world ever knows. With a